Hello everybody and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself George bringing you another review, and this is the final review of the 10 Best Picture nominees. Of course, this is Tar, written and directed by Todd Field, starring Cate Blanchett, and it is up for 6 Academy Awards, with the ceremony taking place this Sunday night / Monday morning, depending on what country you are in. And as always, we want to hear from you, so please do comment your thoughts on Tar. As I mentioned already, this is the last one. We are late to this. I've had this thumbnail in my account since January. This background ready since January. It's one of those films that cinema just love to avoid showing. So I've only just been able to watch it today. I'm going to give my thoughts on the film, alongside it what I think it could do this Sunday night. But as well as that, please follow us on social media for more announcements. Anything else, that is Twitter and Instagram at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy, with a link to TeePublic in the description below to pick up any merch. But as I say, I'm here talking about the film, and I guess I've got to really begin at the root of hearing about this one. I already mentioned I didn't get to see this at the cinema, which I was gutted about. It was one of those where cinema will say they're going to show it, they never do, and the cinemas that are showing it is just nowhere near where I can't get to. So this was one that was on the back burner, and it did get a re-release at Cineworld. Luckily, sarcastic tweet from me as always when they say, "Oh, we're re-releasing the films you missed," when they're the films they wouldn't show until they got much more nominations. So just getting that last dig out of there. You want to save the cinema experience, then put the films on a bit more. Don't show the same films 20 times a day that aren't selling even a third of those tickets per screening. Anyway, Tar. Just going to tell you, Cate Blanchett, I'm a massive fan of her. Todd Field, I'm unfamiliar with his work. I know this is his third film, his first film since 2006. And what I will say, the hype I've seen for this film, across cinephiles, online, everyone talking about Cate Blanchett, not just the fact that she's been up for so many awards as well across the last few months. It's one of those performances, heading into my screening, where I'm just, when the focus is on the performance and the direction, not only do you know it's going to be a character-driven piece, but it's something that I think is going to be different. And that's my approach to this. I had seen stan accounts for Lydia Tar, I've seen memes, I'd seen 1 or 2 clips out of context, but that did not detract from what an incredible experience it was watching this. And I've just got to say, for a director, I want to watch his other films now, and I want to see more Cate Blanchett films. I've not seen enough Cate Blanchett films, is always the correct way to, I guess, understand. I just thought the film was absolutely amazing. And if I kind of give my thoughts on why I think that works so well, it just has to be, and I'm not going to discredit anyone else involved, but the collaboration between Todd Field and Cate Blanchett, who he said that if she declined the role, he wouldn't have made the film. That's when you know that you're going to have a good film. That's when you know that the dedication, the commitment, and the quality is there for everyone. To me, my favourite characters are the ones that have been written with people in mind. It makes so much more difference to how an actor is able to perform, how a director is able to direct. They already have an image in their head of how they want something to be, and it is bringing this collaboration together alongside so many other wonderful things that take part in this. I know this is nominations for cinematography. I know that one of the big ones they spoke about was the fact it didn't get nominated for Best Score, with Hilda Guadagno, who of course had an amazing score for Joker. There's a lot of things involved in shaping this film, and the cinematography, of course, also has another nomination. Editing, as I said, director, screenplay, best actress. It is up for 6, and I think this is probably the 4th or 5th most nominated film. I could be wrong, but I think for me it was a masterpiece. And that word is said so much these days. It's a word that's thrown around too much, and I try and avoid saying it. But as I mentioned earlier, a tour de force type performance. And the character of Lydia Tar is a fascinating one without itself. Some of my favourite characters are quite often terrible people, which she is. And I'm not trying to say this is humanize her, of course it doesn't. But I find it so much more interesting as an audience member, as a viewer, when we have these characters that are diving into these dirtier people, I guess you could say. And when you've got someone like Lydia Tar, if you've seen the film by now, of course you'll know exactly what I mean throughout that. It's just amazing seeing how Cate Blanchett is able to play this character, how she can give off this, not necessarily a sensitive vibe, but everything is included within this performance. We've got a mother-daughter relationship, we've got family struggles at home, we've got divorces, we've got death, we've got so many other things, abuse, hatred. How this is 2 hours 40, that was a worry for me heading into the film. People were talking this film was too long. It absolutely was not too long. I think people saying that probably just the very typical, I'm going to find something to moan about the Oscars. And that is one of those kind of things. To have a character like Lydia Tar and spend all this time with her, someone who's quite despicable, you kind of really enjoy watching her in this. Maybe it's the deterioration of the character, maybe it's as more and more honest truths start coming out. I just thought it was an amazing journey, and they're some of my favourite types of films, the dramas, when it is sort of psychological dramas as such, that is delving into the mind of this individual, what's pushing them to go this far. And I think for me, with not just the background of film, of course, I love my soundtracks, I love my scores, I like going, not to the opera as such, but many a concert where we do have, soundtracks being played, we've got an orchestra, conductors. I'm instantly drawn to a film like this, and it was really interesting because my mum had mentioned it to me. She'd hate this film, but because she's into that kind of music as well, even that is out there. And I just think the perfectionist that is needed to be a conductor is such a smart character elevation for her to play, that it makes for such a fascinating dynamic as the time goes on. And when you think of these conductors, the people that make music, especially sort of classical music per se, you don't ever really think about them in a negative light. You don't ever see that from them. You don't, not to bring joy, it's really unfair to compare it to this kind of thing, but when you think of composers, you think of some of the humblest, the politest, the calmest, the most respectful. And that's why I think it is genius what Todd Field has done with this film, to take someone like that and strip away what people may think about it, demonstrate it, this perfect public eye, the overlong opening with the list of achievements. I love that kind of thing. I'm not saying it's satire, it's not at all, but some people will get what he's trying to do with this. Others won't. Others will think this is how it is, and I love that it plays such a heavy part of this, and with the film sort of developing as it goes on to those final scenes where more truth is coming out about, her real identity and what it's left her doing. You going from a Berlin orchestra to, a convention in the other part of the world to play a theme in front of people. It was amazing seeing the journey in which this has took place, and I've just got to hand it to Todd Field for the script in this. I thought was absolutely nailed on. The dialogue, long sequences. Dialogue is the hardest thing to write in a film. Some people might disagree. Some people talk about how do you structure and move story forward. But for a dialogue-heavy film like this, where quite often it could just be characters sitting and talking for 5-10 minutes, you're hanging on to every word. And the actors that they're bringing in with this as well. I mean, Julian Glover popping up as one of the best surprises of the year. I did not expect to see him in a film like this. It was amazing to see, and it was great his chemistry with Cate Blanchett. Mark Strong popping up as well, playing a very different Mark Strong role, mainly because he's got a wig. I loved the characters and the actors that were brought on board to this, and this is very much Cate Blanchett's film. It's a film that's been written for her. It's a film that's been directed around her. She absolutely needs to win the Oscar on Sunday. I'm sorry, Michelle Yeoh fans, but Cate Blanchett has to win. It is the best performance by a country mile. I don't mind who wins in the sense of I'm happy for either, but this is one of the best acting races we've had in many years for Best Actor as well, and I really hope it comes alive on Sunday and we get a really interesting decision either way. But yeah, it's hard to talk about this because it's been out for months and I think everyone's seen it by now. But I guess I'm going to kind of pose and follow that up. I'm not going to have a rant about UK cinema releases as I always do. I just think this is the last video before the Oscar Sunday. And we're seeing all these... I've got one more film to watch. I need to watch Women Talking. I know Tate did the review yesterday. I will see it on Sunday, probably if I get time. There's so many things happening at the moment. It will get covered. But it's just one of those where, for me to save, I think, one of the bigger films in, normally I'll go watch the big ones to begin with. And I'll start big and then I'll work my way down to here's one nominated for maybe Best Actor or Best Actress. I've not done that this year. I've took a very backwards approach to the Oscar season. I'm more curious about the 10. I think following it from afar, it's been the most interesting award season in years. Different winners at different big events. Is All Quiet going to nab it? Is Everything Everywhere going to nab it? It's been amazing seeing different contents and how others are reacting. Obviously, we've got our predictions video, which is done on the day of nominations. It's more for the game than our actual predictions. But it is fascinating what's going to happen this Oscar Sunday, and I cannot wait to watch it unfold. And as I said, I'm rooting for this film. I'm rooting in a lot of films. I think this is probably my favourite batch of best film nominees in a long time. In a very long time. And that isn't said lightly. So my thoughts on Tar, as I've kind of said, it is a masterpiece. It's a simple, short review. I don't need to sit there and overanalyze it. If you want to watch it for Cate Blanchett, you absolutely can. You want to watch it about director, you absolutely can with Todd Field. You want to watch a film about a perfectionist, and they're sometimes the best ones. People's obsession with their own brilliance. Whiplash is the most obvious example of that in the past. There are so many like this. Tar is right up there for me as a character study goes. One of the performances of the decade so far. And that's how I'm going to round out this review. Thank you all for watching. As I said, join us this Sunday night. We will be live with our annual Oscars live stream. We've got Women Talking that came up yesterday. We've got a playlist on the channel where you can see all of our reviews for every film that's been nominated so far. We've got the animated films discussion, which Charlie and Tate were on. There's a lot of things that's happened this Oscar season. We've also got the Rocky 4K Ultra HD reviews happening every week. We've got John Wick coming in a few weeks. We've got so many films. It's going to be an insane blockbuster season, and the Oscars is a big step in us finishing that. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one.